Imagine just picturing yourself, right? In Philadelphia on a Friday night, you're near the Roosevelt Mall, maybe you're grabbing dinner, or you just finished up some shopping, and suddenly a Learjet 55 crashes right onto the street.
Wow.
It's a chilling thought, I know.
Yeah.
But you know what makes this even more tragic? This wasn't just any plane. This was a medical ambulance plane, and it was transporting a young girl back home to her family after receiving this life-saving treatment.
Oh, wow.
And tragically, everyone on board perished.
Oh, no.
The pilot, the co-pilot, a physician, a paramedic, the young patient, and her mother.
Oh.
All of them Mexican nationals.
It's a heartbreaking situation, that's for sure. And I think when we dig into the details a bit, it gets even more complex. The company that was operating this flight, Jet Rescue Air Ambulance, they have a past, right? And it immediately raises questions. They had another fatal crash just last year in 2023. It was a Learjet 35A that went down in Mexico. So the question becomes, does this point to a larger issue with their safety practices? It's a pattern that warrants closer examination.
Okay, so let's try to unpack this a bit more. So we know the plane, a Learjet 55, was en route from Tijuana, Mexico, after refueling in Missouri. But what really gets to me are the air traffic control audio recordings. And you can hear the controllers realize they've lost contact with the plane. And you hear the confusion in their voices as they try to reestablish contact. And then that chilling declaration that the field is closed. It really captures the suddenness and chaos of this whole tragedy in a way that news reports just can't convey.
Right. And this is where the NTSB investigation becomes absolutely crucial. They're not just looking for a smoking gun. They're meticulously combing through a 4 to 5 block debris field to find the black box, that cockpit voice recorder.
Right.
And believe me, the NTSB, they're known for their thoroughness. Think of them like the CSI of aviation.
Okay, yeah.
They'll analyze every bit of data from that black box, from altitude and airspeed to pilot inputs, engine performance. They'll interview witnesses, piece together the radar data, and hopefully figure out what caused that steep descent moments before impact.
It's heartbreaking, especially when you consider the statement that was released from Shriners Children's Hospital in Philadelphia. Their patient was on that plane, and they've expressed their profound sorrow for the families that were involved.
Yeah.
This wasn't just a flight; it was a journey home after a fight for life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we can't overlook the impact that this crash had on the ground. Multiple house fires erupted, fueled by the jet fuel. Residents were displaced from their homes, and the Red Cross had to set up a shelter. These events, they create shockwaves that ripple through the entire community. It disrupts lives, and it instills fear.
It does. Even the Philadelphia Eagles, who are getting ready for the Super Bowl, felt the weight of this tragedy. They released a statement expressing their condolences, which I think just adds another layer of emotion to their upcoming game.
Yeah, it does. You know what's really striking about this whole thing? The crash occurred right near the Roosevelt Mall, a place that many of our listeners in the Philadelphia area might have visited.
Sure.
It really drives home the fact that these kinds of tragedies can happen anywhere, anytime. Imagine, going about your Friday night routine and then witnessing this unfold just a few blocks away.
Oh, yeah. One witness described seeing the plane descending and was urging others to, quote, get down before that massive fireball erupted. It really paints a terrifyingly vivid picture of the chaos on the ground.
He does. But despite all the eyewitness accounts and the initial investigations, there are still so many unanswered questions. What caused that sudden steep descent? Was it mechanical failure, pilot error, weather conditions? Was it something else entirely? That's what the NTSB is working tirelessly to determine.
Right. And in the meantime, we're seeing an outpouring of support for the victims and the first responders. President Trump and VP Vance have both released statements, and Mayor Parker has called for prayers for the city. She's also cautioned against online fundraising scams, which sadly often pop up after these tragedies.
It's a good reminder to be cautious and only donate through verified organizations in times like these. There's always someone trying to exploit a tragedy for personal gain.
Absolutely. So far, what we're seeing is a complex story unfolding with layers of human tragedy. Technical questions about the plane and its operation and the profound impact that this has had on the community. The NTSB is working tirelessly to bring some clarity to this whole tragedy, but there's still so much we don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. This is where the real intrigue lies, right? What I find fascinating is how this incident, similar to many others before it throws a wrench into our perception of air travel safety. Statistically, flying is incredibly safe, yet accidents like this still occur. It begs the question, what does this tell us about the systems in place, the human element involved, and the potential for preventing such tragedies in the future? It's a question worth pondering as we await the NTSB's findings.
Absolutely. The NTSB investigation is still in its early stages,
Okay.
and new information is coming in all the time. What's becoming increasingly clear is that there's no single smoking gun, no easily identifiable factor that caused this crash. It seems to be a convergence of circumstances, some of which are still being pieced together.
Yeah. You mentioned the air traffic control audio earlier, and I think it's worth highlighting again. Listening to those recordings, it gives you a real sense of the confusion and urgency as those controllers lost contact with the plane. They're trying to understand what's happening. They declare the field closed, and it all unfolds so quickly. It really highlights the crucial role of air traffic control in aviation safety and the intense challenges that they face in these unexpected situations.
Right, right. We also have those eyewitness accounts that provide a glimpse into the moments leading up to the crash. One witness described seeing the plane descending at an alarming angle, almost like it was nosediving, which seems to be corroborated by some of the early findings from the NTSB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's also coming into focus is a more detailed picture of the victims and their families. We're learning more about the young girl who was being flown home after her treatment at Shriners Children's Hospital. We're
Mm.
hearing stories about the medical crew who are on board, their unwavering dedication to their patients and the families they leave behind. It's a stark reminder that this wasn't just a flight. It was a collection of lives, hopes, and dreams that were tragically cut short.
Absolutely. And as we dig deeper into the investigation, we're seeing the true impact of this crash on the Philadelphia community. It's not just about the immediate aftermath, the fires, the displacement of residents, but also the emotional toll on those who witnessed the crash, those who live nearby, and the first responders who rushed to the scene.
Right. And what's been truly inspiring is seeing how the city has come together in response to this tragedy. The Red Cross is offering support to those who lost their homes. Community organizations are providing counseling and resources, and people are stepping up to help in any way they can. It's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the power of community in the face of such adversity.
This story is so compelling because it touches on so many different facets of our lives. The technology of aviation, the human element of the medical profession, the impact on the community, and the larger questions about safety and prevention.
And as the investigation continues, it's important to remember that this is not about pointing fingers or finding a single scapegoat. It's about understanding the complex interplay of factors that led to this tragedy and using that knowledge to prevent similar incidents from happening again.
I couldn't agree more. There's still so much more to uncover, and we'll continue to follow this story closely as the NTSB investigation unfolds.
And as we wait for those findings, it's worth reflecting on the bigger picture. What can we learn from this tragedy? How can we improve aviation safety and ensure that these kinds of accidents become even rarer?
Huh.
These are questions that demand our attention.
This isn't just about a plane crash. It's about human lives, about safety, and our collective responsibility to learn from these tragedies and work towards a safer future.
Yeah. There's been a lot of discussion about jet rescue air ambulance and their previous crash in Mexico last year. And I think it's crucial to remember that aviation safety isn't about one company or one incident. It's a multifaceted issue involving regulations, oversight, training, technology, and countless other factors.
Right. I'm particularly interested in what the NTSB investigation will reveal about about jet rescue air ambulances safety practices. Were there any red flags that were missed? Were there systemic issues that played a role in this crash? These are questions that will hopefully be answered as the investigation progresses.
Yeah, hopefully. What stands out to me is the role of technology in aviation safety. We have increasingly sophisticated systems designed to prevent accidents, but as we've seen in this case, even the most advanced technology can't always account for human error or unforeseen circumstances.
It highlights the importance of the human element in aviation. We need highly trained pilots, air traffic controllers, and maintenance crews who can react effectively to unexpected situations. Technology can assist, but it can't replace human judgment and expertise.
Right, and it goes beyond the people directly operating the aircraft. It's also about the regulatory environment,
Yeah.
the standards of training, and the overall culture of safety within the aviation industry. All of these factors contribute to the overall safety record of air travel.
Right, you're right. It's a complex system with many moving parts, and it's crucial to understand how they all interact to ensure safety. While we've made significant progress in aviation safety over the
Right.
years, tragedies like this, they remind us that there's always more work to be done.
Complacency is dangerous when it comes to safety. We need to continually strive for improvement, learn from each incident, and implement changes to make air travel even safer in the future.
It's a goal worth pursuing, and hopefully the NTSB investigation will provide valuable insights to help us achieve that goal.
I hope so. We've talked about a lot of things, but one thing we haven't addressed is the emotional impact of this crash on the families of the victims. I can only imagine the immense pain they must be going through right now,
Yeah.
losing their loved ones in such a sudden and tragic way.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's truly unimaginable. And beyond the headlines and the investigation, we need to remember that there are real people grieving, trying to make sense of this loss, who need our support and empathy.
It extends beyond the families of those on board the plane. There are people who witnessed the crash firsthand, the first responders who dealt with the horrific aftermath, and the community as a whole. Trauma like this can have far-reaching consequences, and it's important to acknowledge that and provide resources and support for those who need help coping.
It's crucial to remember that this isn't just a news story. It's a human tragedy that demands our empathy and compassion.
It does, and as we move forward, it's vital that we remember the victims and their families. Let their memories serve as a powerful reminder of the importance of safety and our continued pursuit of improvement in aviation.
Absolutely. Their loss should not be in vain. We must learn from this tragedy and do everything in our power to prevent something like this from happening again.
I'm particularly interested in the potential role of pilot training in this crash. We know the crew was experienced, but were there any gaps in their training that could have contributed to the accident? Were they adequately prepared for the specific challenges of flying a medical ambulance plane?
That's a great question, and I'm sure it's something that the NTSB will be investigating. Flying a medical ambulance, it isn't your typical flight. It's a specialized area of aviation that demands pilots be able to handle unique situations, from in-flight medical emergencies to navigating to remote and sometimes challenging locations.
Precisely. It's possible that the pilots in this case they encountered a situation they weren't fully equipped to handle, whether it was a mechanical issue, an unexpected weather event,
Mhm.
or
Right.
something else entirely. Hopefully, the investigation will shed light on that aspect.
I think it's also important to consider the role of fatigue in aviation accidents. Pilots often work long hours, and fatigue can significantly impair their judgment and reaction time. I'm interested to see if fatigue played any role in this crash.
It's definitely a possibility, and I'm sure the NTSB will be looking into that as well. They'll examine the pilots' work schedules, their rest periods, and any other factors that might have contributed to fatigue.
It's a complex issue that emphasizes the need for robust fatigue management programs for pilots and all aviation personnel. We need to make sure they're getting adequate rest and aren't being pushed beyond their limits. Fatigue can be a silent killer in aviation, and we need to do everything we can to mitigate that risk.
One crucial aspect we haven't touched upon yet is the role of the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, in all of this. What kind of oversight do they have over companies like Jet Rescue Air Ambulance?
That's a critical element of this investigation, and one I'm certain the NTSB will be examining closely. The FAA is responsible for establishing safety standards, issuing certifications, and conducting inspections to ensure that airlines and other aviation operators are adhering to those standards.
Right.
Yeah.
They'll be scrutinizing whether Jet Rescue Air Ambulance met all the required safety regulations, whether their maintenance practices were up to par, and whether there were any previous incidents that should have raised red flags.
It's about accountability. Both the company and the FAA have a responsibility to ensure safety. And this investigation will be crucial in determining whether there were any systemic failures that contributed to this tragedy.
Absolutely. It's about learning from this incident,
Yeah.
identifying any shortcomings and implementing changes to prevent similar events from happening again.
This story emphasizes that aviation safety is an ongoing process, a continuous pursuit of improvement. It's not simply reacting to accidents, but proactively identifying risks and taking steps to mitigate them before they escalate.
I completely agree. We can never afford to become complacent when it comes to safety. We need to constantly strive for progress, learn from every incident, and work tirelessly to make air travel even safer for everyone.
It's a goal worth striving for, and I believe the NTSB investigation will provide invaluable insights that can help us get closer to achieving that goal.
Yeah, we've discussed a lot of technical details and systemic issues, but in the midst of all this, it's important to remember the human element. The first responders who rushed to the scene faced a chaotic and dangerous situation, yet they acted with remarkable courage and professionalism.
Yeah. They're often the unsung heroes in these situations, but their role is absolutely vital. Their quick thinking and bravery in the face of such tragedy deserve our deepest gratitude and respect.
I'm curious about the kind of training that prepares first responders for these kinds of incidents. How do you train for something as unpredictable and chaotic as a plane crash? What skills and knowledge are essential in those critical moments?
It's a fascinating question. First responders need to be able to assess a rapidly changing situation, triage victims, provide immediate medical care, and coordinate with multiple agencies, all in a high stress environment. It's incredibly demanding.
And they also need to be aware of the specific dangers associated with aviation accidents, like jet fuel fires, the possibility of explosions, and the potential presence of hazardous materials.
Yeah, it's a demanding job, both physically and emotionally, and we owe a huge debt of gratitude to the brave men and women who put their lives on the line to help others in these kinds of situations.
One aspect that hasn't been discussed as much is the environmental impact of this crash. We know there was a significant jet fuel fire, and I wonder about the potential impact on the surrounding environment. What steps are being taken to assess and remediate any environmental damage that may have occurred?
It's a valid point and an important aspect of the overall cleanup and recovery effort. Jet fuel is highly flammable and can release harmful pollutants into the air and soil. It's crucial to understand the environmental impact of such an event.
This incident also highlights the importance of sustainability in aviation. As we look ahead, we need to find ways to reduce the environmental footprint of air travel, not just for the sake of the planet, but for the well-being of communities affected by such events.
Absolutely, it's about striking a balance between the benefits of air travel and the responsibility to protect our our environment.
We live in an age where information travels at lightning speed.
Yeah.
And the role of social media in spreading news of this this crash has been significant. It seemed like within minutes of the incident, videos and photos were circulating online.
It's remarkable how quickly information spreads these days. And while social media can be a valuable tool for sharing information and connecting people, it also has its downsides.
One of the challenges is verifying the accuracy of information that's being shared. In a rapidly evolving situation like this, misinformation can spread like wildfire, creating confusion and anxiety.
Right, and it can be difficult to avoid graphic content that may be upsetting to some. I've seen some disturbing images and videos from the crash site circulating online.
Yeah, it's a reminder to be mindful of the potential impact of sharing sensitive content like that. There's a line between reporting the news and sensationalizing a tragedy.
We need to find that balance between informing the public and respecting the victims and their families.
Absolutely. Yeah. However, it's been heartening to see how social media has also become a platform for support in this tragedy. People are offering condolences, sharing information about resources for those affected, and even organizing fundraising efforts.
It's a powerful example of how social media can be used for good. It can build community, connect people in times of need, and amplify that inherent human desire to help others in times of crisis.
It's a beacon of hope and compassion in the midst of darkness.
This crash will undoubtedly have economic ramifications as well.
Yeah.
I'm curious about the potential disruption it might cause for the airline industry, especially for smaller regional airlines like Jet Rescue Air Ambulance.
It's an important aspect to consider. While the overall airline industry is relatively robust, smaller airlines are often more vulnerable to the financial fallout of a major accident. Jet Rescue Air Ambulance is facing a number of potential costs, including the loss of the aircraft, insurance claims, legal fees, and the potential damage to their reputation.
Right.
And depending on the findings of the NTSB investigation, they could face fines or other penalties from the FAA. It's a significant financial burden, and it's possible this crash could have a substantial impact on their long-term viability.
It highlights the importance of financial stability in the airline industry. Airlines need to have the resources to not only maintain their fleets and invest in safety, but also to weather unforeseen events like this.
It goes beyond the airlines themselves. It's about the entire economic ecosystem they support, including airports, tourism, and various other industries.
Right. It's a complex web of interconnectedness, and we need to consider the ripple effects of a major accident like this one.
As we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'm struck by the sheer complexity of this story. It's not just a plane crash. It's a human tragedy, an environmental incident, a technical puzzle, and a testament to the resilience of a community.
Exactly, and it touches upon so many aspects of our lives, from the technology of aviation to the human element of grief and recovery.
As we await the findings of the NTSB investigation,
Mhm.
it's crucial to keep all of those dimensions in mind. This is a reminder that even in a world of advanced technology and sophisticated systems, human lives are at stake, and every accident has a profound impact.
You're absolutely right. This is not just about a plane crash. It's about human lives, about safety, and about our collective responsibility to learn from these tragedies and strive for a safer future.
I completely agree. It's a sobering reminder that aviation, while statistically safe, is not without its risks, and it's our responsibility to learn from these tragedies and work towards a future where such events are even rarer.
Absolutely. As we process all this information about the crash, it's fascinating to consider the contrast between the statistical safety of air travel and the very real fear that so many people experience when they fly.
It's It is a fascinating paradox, isn't it? Statistically, flying is one of the safest ways to travel, yet the thought of a plane crash evokes such a visceral reaction in many people. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think part of it is the sheer drama of a plane crash. It's a sudden, often catastrophic event, and the images can be incredibly powerful. The pictures we've seen from the crash site in Philadelphia are a stark reminder of that.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, and there's the fact that flying, it takes us out of our comfort zone. We're literally suspended in the air, trusting technology and a small group of individuals to keep us safe. It's natural for that to create some level of unease.
I also think it taps into our innate desire for control. When we step onto a plane, we relinquish control to the pilots and the crew. We have to trust that they'll guide us safely to our destination.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And when something goes wrong, it can shatter that trust and leave us feeling vulnerable.
It's intriguing how our perceptions of risk are shaped by both statistics and emotions. We might know rationally that flying is safe, but that doesn't always quell the emotional response.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's those emotional responses that often drive our behavior, even when they contradict the logical part of our brain.
Shifting gears a bit, one of the things that I've always found fascinating about aviation accidents is the role of the National Transportation Safety Board, the NTSB. They're like detectives meticulously piecing together clues to understand what went wrong.
Their work is truly remarkable. They're uh, incredibly thorough and meticulous in their investigations. They don't just focus on the obvious. They examine every facet of the flight, from the aircraft's maintenance records to the pilot's training logs to the weather conditions at the time of the crash.
I'm always impressed by the level of detail they delve into. They analyze the wreckage, scrutinize the flight data recorder, and interview everyone involved, from air traffic controllers to witnesses on the ground.
And it's not just about assigning blame. Their ultimate goal is to identify the probable cause of the accident, and more importantly, to recommend changes that can prevent similar accidents from happening again.
Right, and their work has undoubtedly led to significant advancements in aviation safety over the years. We owe a lot to their dedication and expertise.
Absolutely. The NTSB plays a critical role in making air travel as safe as it is today.
We've talked extensively about the technical side of this investigation, but it's crucial to remember that the human cost of this tragedy. There are families grieving the loss of their loved ones, first responders grappling with the trauma of what they witnessed, and an entire community reeling from the shock of this event.
You're absolutely right. It's easy to get caught up in the technical details, the data analysis and the search for a cause, but we must never lose sight of the fact that at the heart of this story are real people whose lives have been irrevocably altered.
It makes me wonder about the resources available to help people cope with the aftermath of a tragedy like this. Where do they turn for support? What kind of assistance is available to them?
Fortunately, there are several organizations dedicated to providing support to victims of aviation accidents and their families. The National Air Disaster Alliance Foundation, or NEDAF for short, is a great example. They advocate for the rights of air disaster victims and their families.
They
And
offer a range of services, from grief counseling to legal advocacy, right?
Exactly, exactly. They provide a vital lifeline for those who are struggling to navigate the complex emotional and legal aftermath of a crash.
Mm.
And there are other organizations like the American Red Cross that step in to provide immediate assistance with basic needs like housing, food, and clothing in the immediate aftermath of a disaster.
It's reassuring to know that there are people and organizations out there who are ready and willing to provide support during such a difficult difficult time.
It's a reminder that even in the darkest of moments, compassion and humanity can shine through. And it's important to remember that healing is a process. It takes time, and everyone copes in their own way.
One of the most remarkable aspects of this story has been the resilience shown by the Philadelphia community, despite
Mhm.
the immense grief and shock. People have come together to support one another.
It's a testament to the strength of the human spirit. Even in the face of unimaginable loss, people find ways to offer comfort, lend a helping hand, and begin the process of healing together.